Revenge films.
I'm Kate, living with my husband Darren and 5 months pregnant. People around me say my husband seems nice and kind, but what they see is not the true Darren. He works for a company which is a subsidiary of the company my dad owns and is aiming for the CEO position. The CEO of that subsidiary is Darren's father. My dad liked both Darren and his father. Dad introduced Darren to me, and he was looking forward to having his grandchild. Darren was nice and gentlemanly when we were going out, but that changed dramatically after I got pregnant. The reason was the child was said to be a girl. When I told him about this, I saw his true self for the first time. "It's a girl." And he said,
"You've got to be kidding! What good is having a girl who can't inherit the company? Is it too late to have an abortion?"
It was unbelievable. I said, "I'm not going to."
"If you don't bear a boy, you're a useless wife."
He left the house and didn't return until the following day. I couldn't believe he really meant it. Who was so kind and gentle up until that point? I decided to wait and see without talking to anyone else. Maybe he was tired and in a bad mood, so I tried to act normal. But he's changed and didn't go back to the way he was. His abusive behavior gradually escalated, and I realized that was the true him. He started to make unreasonable demands on me while I was pregnant. Scrubbing the floors and cleaning the windows of the second floor became a daily routine. If I talk back just a little bit,
"I'm the provider. You don't have the right to talk back to me."
if I cut corners on something,
"You can't even do housework decently. Get out of here."
and he can get violent. One day he ordered me to go buy a 60-pound bag of beans. I couldn't carry that heavy bag while I was pregnant, so I called my mom for help. "Why don't you ask Darren?" So I told her that he's the one who ordered me. She was worried to hear that and told Dad about it. I was hoping that Darren might change if he heard from Dad. When Darren came home, there was my father-in-law next to him. The two were furious at me. "How dare you tell your father about that little thing?" He grabbed me by the arm and sat me on the floor. The two preached at me for hours, and he said this in the end.
"If you ever think about divorce, I will spread the word in the company about you being a useless, crazy woman. If you don't want to tarnish your father's name, shut your mouth and do as I say."
I couldn't cause Dad any trouble and shame, so I decided to endure this treatment. My hellish days began from that day on. He forced me to do labor-intensive housework and harassed me day after day, and I was losing my mind. I lost my natural cheerfulness and sense of justice and felt completely depressed. The only thing that gave me a reason to live was the baby in my belly. No matter how terribly he treated me, I believed he wouldn't change once the baby was born. I was 6 months into pregnancy then. One day he told me to prepare dinner for his sister because she was coming to visit. My sister-in-law, Martha, is a freelance makeup artist and just got back from an overseas job. She was easygoing and nice, so I was excited to see her too. She got here before Darren was home. When I greeted her at the door, her face froze. "Kate? What happened to you? You don't look well." She was concerned about me. I didn't notice, but I did look like a different person with the stress from Darren's abuse. Martha then said, "Is it, by any chance, Darren?" At that moment, as if all the patience I had been holding back had exploded, and I burst into tears. As she asked, I told her everything Darren said and did to me for all those months. To tell you the truth, my father did the same thing to my mother. Watching that as a child, Darren grew to despise women. She confided in me. Now that she knows about this, she said she would protect me, and she installed a computer camera in my room right away. "I'm going to get a voice recorder at the store. I'll be right back." And she left. Soon after that, Darren came home along with my father-in-law. He came along to see Martha. He asked me about her, so I told him she stepped out to a store. He told me to get the wine glasses that were on the top shelf in the cupboard. He was taller than me, and I wondered why he had asked me to do that. I thought it must be another harassment to me, and I did what he told me. I was standing on the chair looking for the wine glasses, and he rushed me.
Hey, what's taking you so long? Bring him here before Martha comes back.
In a minute, I said while I was still looking for them, and suddenly Darren and his father came out in the kitchen and kicked me down along with the chair while I was standing on it. I didn't know what happened, and the next moment I found myself lying on the floor. I was shocked and confused, but sensed the immediate danger and ran out of the house desperately with my bruised arms and knees. Darren and his father chased after me, so I panicked and took a taxi to my parents' house. When I got there safely, Dad saw me, concerned.
What happened at this hour?
I just said, I couldn't protect my baby, while crying. Then Darren and his father got there too. Dad asked them what was going on.
She fell off a chair. I told her not to overdo things.
I was frightened and trembling to see them, and Dad said,
I'll take her to the hospital anyway.
And he did. While the doctor was examining me, Darren and his father acted as if they were genuinely concerned, and Dad didn't seem to have any doubt. But when Martha arrived there, the walls tumbled down. Seeing Darren and their father acting like a caring family, Martha showed the video to my dad on the laptop she installed a few hours earlier. The video clearly showed them knocking me down with the chair. Enraged, Dad shouted at them,
I get it all now. Don't come near my daughter ever again.
Then the two apologized to Dad.
Where did that video come from?
It was me. I got suspicious when I saw Kate looking haggard. I'm the one who installed the camera. Father, are you going to repeat what you did to my mother to Kate? Darren, you became just like your father. You two are not my family anymore.
You ruined it all! Who do you think you are? You're just a woman!
He ranted.
You villains are fired! Don't bother coming to the office!
Then he chased them out of the room. After the tests, I was admitted to the hospital just to be safe, but the baby was fine because I protected my belly unconsciously when I fell off the chair. Dad and Martha felt relieved too. They also acted quickly for me, and I could get a divorce before the baby was born. The video made it possible to arrest the two for assault. Darren was required to pay a substantial amount of compensation and child support. After he was fired, his savings weren't enough. Along with his father's savings, he paid $150 in one lump sum. The two lost their jobs, couldn't get rehired, and with the money they had left, moved into a cheap apartment. In a cramped space with no money, they started fighting and became frequent visitors to the hospital. Meanwhile, I gave birth to a healthy baby girl, and I'm living in my parents' house happily. I can't thank Dad and Martha enough. I owe it to them to live with my baby safely and happily.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.